Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh, is infiltrating a lab. She knocks out several guards before finding the research and artifacts that she was tasked with bringing in under orders from Contessa Valentina de Fontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, for the Oxy Group. One of the scientists tries to stop Yelena, warning her about Valentina's work on Project Sentry, but the two fight as the scientist fires at Yelena, ending with him accidentally shooting himself in the face. Yelena manages to get what she needs and has the lab blown up before reporting to Valentina. In DC, Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan, is now an elected congressman and is part of a trial in which Valentina is being impeached due to carrying out secret operations. She is followed by her loyal assistant Mel, Geraldine Viswanathan. Valentina defends her position by reminding the court of the Red Hulk incident and how the Avengers are no longer around to save the world in times of crisis, so Val feels justified in her actions. And Valentina has Yelena go to the vault, specifically to take out a target. Ava Starr, yes Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. When Yelena gets there and prepares to take out Ava, she is attacked by John Walker, US agent, Wyatt Russell. He gets shot at by Antonia Dreykov Taskmaster, Olga Kurilenko. The four fight and shoot at each other until Ava reappears in front of Taskmaster and shoots her in the head. The other three find themselves with a mysterious civilian survivor, Robert Bob Reynolds, Lewis Pullman. They quickly deduce that Valentina sent them to target each other, and the other artifacts in the building are property of Oxy Group. Val is trying to get rid of the evidence, which includes the assassins. Valentina is at a gala with Mel, where Bucky is also in attendance and working with Congressman Gary, Wendell Pierce, to bring Val down. Bucky approaches Mel and gives her his contact info in case she decides to work for someone more honest. Mel sees surveillance footage in the vault and reports to Valentina that her targets have now joined forces. Mel later calls Bucky, who encourages her to testify against Valentina, and she tells Bucky to track her own phone. Ava tries to phase through the doors, only for a supersonic machine to disrupt her powers. Yelena finds the power source, and Walker smashes it. Ava manages to get out and open the door for the others to escape as the incinerator turns on. Yelena finds herself in a memory. She sees herself as a child luring another girl, Anya, Alexa Swinton, into the woods to be executed as part of her first test in the Red Room. Yelena snaps out of it, as this was a result of her accidentally touching Bob's hand. They, plus Walker and Ava, try to find an escape out of the vault. Bob suggests they climb up to the top by locking arms and walking up the walls. They nearly fall when Walker grabs one of Yelena's batons to pull himself up, but they make it up together. When they make it up, Walker touches Bob's hand and sees a shameful memory of himself arguing with his wife for paying more attention to news articles about his failure of being the new Captain America instead of their son. Valentina brings a team of mercenaries to the vault to take out Yelena, Walker, and Ava, but she orders them to be non-lethal with Bob since he was the only survivor of the Project Sentry experiments. The assassins try to find their own way out and evade the mercs, eventually disguising themselves in their armor to get out. Valentina come to the vault and see what happened. The guards try to find Yelena and friends, while Bob and Yelena try to explode the vault, but it turns out failed. Because they don't have choice, Yelena and Walker fight with the guards. Yelena also protects Bob because Bob cannot fight. In the end, they can get out from the vault and disguise as guards. The guards stop them from fleeing, so Bob exits their getaway van and draws their attention to him, so the others can flee. The gunmen open fire on Bob, but he remains unharmed, to Val's surprise. Bob ends up flying high into the sky, but passes out at a high altitude, so he comes crashing back down into the vault before Val and her men apprehend him. Yelena, Walker, and Ava see Bob surprisingly, and curious what will happen to Bob next. It turned out that their car exploded, and Yelena also explained to Walker and Ava that Bob was ever getting the Sentry serum from in a laboratory, one of Earth's most powerful hero. They walk through the desert to find a way out. Ava brings up Taskmaster, whom Yelena noted was tragically a victim of circumstances like their own. In the morning, the three are found by Alexei, who disguised himself as Val's limo driver and found out Yelena was being targeted. She is embarrassed that he shows up with the vehicle that he does, an ugly limo that he barely knows how to work, but they get in and start to get away. A convoy of vans start to pursue the four, with the mercs inside firing at them. Ava tries to use her powers, but gets blocked by another supersonic ray. But the four are saved when Bucky uses his grenades to take out the vans. However, he tosses a chain to the limo and causes it to flip over. Bob wakes up and is met by Valentina, who convinces him that, as Sentry, he basically has the powers of a god. She touches his hand and sees a memory of herself as a child, where she accidentally invited into her home a man that ended up killing her father. Bob promises to Val that he can keep his powers under control. Bucky takes Yelena, Alexei, Walker, and Ava captive. Mel calls Bucky to warn him about Val's plans with Bob Sentry, especially since Bob's records showed that he was mentally unstable when he was recruited for the experiment. Bucky leads the four to go after Val and stop whatever plans she has for Sentry. Val overheard Mel warning Bucky and explains her belief that there are bad guys and worse guys, and while she knows she is a bad guy, she wants to prevent the worse guys from taking over. The Thunderbolts, unofficial sarcastic team name given after finding out that was the name of Yelena's Pee-wee soccer team, drive into the city and crash through Valentina's watchtower, the former Avengers headquarters, fighting off her guards before taking the elevator up. They are confronted by Val and Bob, who has donned a new suit to become Sentry. The team tries to stop Sentry, but all of their attacks prove useless against him, and he beats everyone up, even ripping off Bucky's vibranium arm. The Thunderbolts are forced to flee, but Sentry starts to turn on Valentina, believing that he does not need to take orders from her. Before he can choke her to death, Mel arrives and uses a kill switch to knock Sentry out. As Val and Mel leave, Bob's body becomes enveloped in darkness. Outside, the team views their efforts as failures since they are just not heroes. As they split up, Alexei catches up to Yelena, who breaks down over how she has nothing going on with her life except her job, and how she's alone and copes by drinking. Alexei gives her a motivational speech to remind her that she is greater than how she sees herself. Just as Yelena cheers up, they join a crowd looking up to see Sentry in the sky, now becoming the Void. He uses his abilities to turn the citizens of New York into shadows. The rest of the Thunderbolts reconvene to help rescue civilians, but the Void covers all of the city in total darkness. Yelena resolves to go inside the Void herself and stop Sentry. She ends up in a series of memories, including the one with Anya, and she tries running and fighting through her past trauma until she comes to a room with Bob, looking normal and sitting in there. His traumatic memory is being abused by his father, and being blamed by his mother for making it worse by trying to defend her. Yelena tries to talk him out of his depression, as she had earlier told him to shove his negative feelings deep down inside instead of properly dealing with them. The rest of the team enters the Void, but Bob's Void counterpart taunts him and overpowers the others. Yelena, heartbroken over her sister's death, consumed by guilt and grief, is searching for a reason to live. And isn't that what purpose really is? Yelena steps into Natasha's shoes, not as a mercenary spy, but as something more enduring. A reluctant but willing hero. An answer to the world's brokenness, not unlike her sister. After overcoming her traumatic, Yelena found Bob in a safe room, sitting alone and feeling so lonely, guilty, and miserable. Yelena also can see Bob's trauma caused by his father. Yelena and Bob tried to escape from the room. Instead, they wrap in clothes that tied their necks. Bucky and other Avengers come to save them after overcoming their trauma too. To pass to that room, all people must pass some traumatic moments so they can find salvation. Bob said there's no other rooms to escape because he always stuck in that room. So Yelena asked Bob what the worst room to escape from there. So they pass all Bob's traumatic past. In the end, they enter a laboratorium room where Bob received Sentry serum for the first time, and they meet Bob's dark side, the Void. Bob said to stop all of this, but the Void said that you will always be alone. No one cares of Bob because Bob is not useful. Why Bob still care for others? Bob the fight with the Void, and the Void laughing and said, "How come you save others while you cannot save yourself?" Bob punching Void more and more, but that's what it wants from him. Yelena runs through the debris and goes to hug Bob, reminding him that he is not alone. The Thunderbolts join in the group hug, which calms Bob down and is able to pull him out of the Void. The rest of the city and its people go back to normal. Outside of the Void, Bob has no memory of what happened. All the Avengers questioning what happened to Bob, and they try to figure it out. Bob keeps simmling and feels unguilty for all the chaos he made. They then see Val is phoning with someone. The Thunderbolts proceed to go after Valentina, but she saves her own skin by putting together a press conference and announcing that putting the team together was her plan all along, as she announces them as the next team of Avengers. This also shows that the asterisk in the film's title is for the New Avengers. While the crowd cheers on the new team of heroes, Yelena reminds Val that this means her ass belongs to them now. Val just pretending to smile brightly in front of the media, but she is also thinking about next strategy to escape from all the troubles or prepares herself to face the new Avengers. Alexei goes to a supermarket where he finds that the new Avengers are featured on a Wheaties box, referencing an earlier line of his. He unsuccessfully tries to get another woman there to recognize him and to buy the cereal. 14 months later, the new Avengers have garnered a mixed public reception. Some accept them as their new heroes, others don't. Sam Wilson, in particular, is trying to sue them for their name. Bob is also forced to keep his powers under control for fear that the Void will come back. The team then gets word of a space crisis and an unidentified aircraft entering Earth's atmosphere. From the team's surveillance cameras, they find the aircraft, and on the side of it, a giant 4. The final text promises that the new Avengers and Bob will return.